Hello.
Hi, Atkins. This is Deputy Chief Falk. If you could just mute yourself, and when the court comes in, they'll let you know when we're ready.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well this afternoon. Let's see, the state all-purpose reset date will be October 11th. All right, where are we going to start this afternoon?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. South Annex is ready.
Okay,
With Ms. Pierce, do not have a position number, sir.
okay, Pierce,
Yes.
position number 9.
I'm sorry, South Annex. Hold tight, please.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Lieutenant Dooley. We need to start with position number 15 in courtroom number 2, please.
Okay,
And the state has requested a breakout with the court on that case, Your Honor. It will only take a moment.
all right, so who needs to be in the breakout?
Myself and the defense attorney. I'm not sure who the defense is on this case.
That will be me, JQ.
Okay, so
All right.
Ms. Kim and Ms. Falk.
And Your Honor, good afternoon. I do apologize for interrupting. I will need a breakout as well with for position number 6. And with the interpreter for position number 2.
Okay, so you'll need, and when you say you need a breakout for position number 6, Ms. Gann, is that a breakout with the court or a breakout with the defendant?
Breakout with the court.
Okay, so why don't we just do all these breakouts at one time so that we can get those done. So who's representing for position 6 from the state? Ms. King or Ms. Salette?
It will be Attorney Salette for that case.
Okay, so let's put Ms. Salette into the breakout also, please.
I was wondering about position number 12, Ross, Jonathan Ross. I don't know whether he also needs a breakout room. I mean, if we don't announce the allegation, I guess we should be okay. And yet I want to confirm with solicitors.
Jonathan Ross, that is my case, Your Honor. I was prepared to water down certain parts of it, if that's okay.
That's okay.
So we won't announce the charge, but you take that in mind, Ms. King.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so can you go ahead and put us in the breakout room, please?
Ms. Thiam, do you have a question? Because myself or the victim witness advocate can give you a call.
Yes.
Okay, we'll give you a call now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's see, we are back, courtroom 2. Mr. Walker, he is going to be reset for tomorrow, 9/28. So that reset is either going to be for felony court or it will be reset for tomorrow's SEA calendar if it does not go to felony court. So we'll see you, well, someone will see you tomorrow, Mr. Walker.
Oh, they changed it to felony court?
Possibly, yes, sir. Okay, so who do we have? We have also completed position number 6. So if you all have position 6 there, we've had an opportunity to discuss his.
Position 6.
Mr. Manning, come on, Mr.
Yes.
Manning.
And Pasquale, have you all, do you all have the interpreter? I'm sorry, do you all have the interpreter case in courtroom 2 also?
It'll be done in courtroom 3, Judge.
Okay, let us know when you're ready for that so that we can put them in a breakout room to discuss.
Hold on. Judge, did you say you're finished with position 6? Or you want to do him next?
Let's do position 6 right now because we've already discussed Mr. Manning.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Manning. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Lord.
Thank you. Mr. Manning, you've been charged in case 22 CR 006563G with 2 misdemeanor offenses. I've had the opportunity to discuss these with your counsel and with the solicitor's office. The bond is going to be for the first misdemeanor, a $3,000 good bond. For the second misdemeanor, a $2,000 good bond. You are to stay away from MARTA. You're not to have any further contact with the alleged victim, Ms. Gresham, and you're to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Manning.
Judge, what was the first, for the first charge, what was the bond amount?
$3,000 for the first charge, $2,000 for the second charge, making a total of a $5,000 good bond total.
Thank you, you're done.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No.
All right, and Ms. Gant, let's see, can we put Ms. Gant and the and Madam Interpreter? Good afternoon, Madam Interpreter.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, are you needing Arabic interpreter?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, so let me just go ahead and swear you in right now before we put you into a breakout room. Do you swear or affirm that you will interpret from English to Arabic and from Arabic to English to the best of your ability?
I do.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So if we can go ahead and put Ms. Gant, Madam Interpreter, into courtroom 1 so that they can discuss. And can we take, let's see, either Ms. Kim's case? Is there anyone else here aside from Ms. Kim?
Position 10, Mr. Reese.
Okay, is that your case, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Reese. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Reese, you've been charged in case 22 CR 006564F with simple battery and criminal trespass. Mr. Howard, is there a history?
33 total. Last arrest was August 31st. Misdemeanor obstruction. He has several parole violations. 2018 failure to appear. That's for obstruction. Probation, cocaine. Another 2018 failure to appear. And then they'll go to parole violations. 2014 simple battery. I got 2 counts of arson in the first degree. Interference with government property, 2 counts. Those were convictions from 2009 out of DeKalb County. Before that was 08, felony theft by receiving, criminal trespass convictions. You want more?
You're fine, Mr. Howard. Thank you. Ms. King, is this your case?
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor. This offense occurred on September 26th. Officers were dispatched to a dispute call at 682 Boulevard Avenue Northeast, which is a Dunkin' Donuts, Your Honor. Upon arrival, they spoke with the victim of this case, Naeem Turks. Naeem, last name Turks. And he stated that he was leaving the window of the drive-through when the defendant tossed food into his vehicle. When the officers arrived at the scene, the suspect was still there, and they asked him basically what happened, and he admitted to throwing the food at the victim in this case because he didn't have any jelly. Another patron was kind enough to buy him food, and because jelly was not in the package as well, he decided to throw the food, Your Honor. At that point, the defendant was detained. There is currently a $5,000 surety in place. The state is requesting that it remains as set, as well as no further contact with the victim in this case, or stay away from the incident location of drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Your Honor, this is due to the defendant's lengthy criminal history. One of the convictions happened this year, Your Honor, and there's been one. As soon as he's released from one charge, he's getting arrested and convicted for another and serving lengthy times. He has multiple, out of the 33, at least 10 are felonies, Your Honor. For that reason, the $5,000 surety that's in play is more than reasonable.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. William Reeves says that he is one of those homeless person who was going to be served by the lady at Papaya, the restaurant for chicken, but I guess Papaya restaurant was refusing to serve the food. If they were actually refusing to sell the food to the lady if she was going to give that food to this homeless person. So because of that, there was a lot of media attention, and there is actually GoFundMe account as well for him. And he says that it was actually him who was hit by the food and sandwich that Mr. Naeem Turks threw at him. And he says that police arrived after all the scenes were all done. After incident happened, all the food was on the sideway, on him himself, on his body and clothes, and he was very sure that the other guy, the other gentleman, Naeem Turks, had nothing on him. His car was clean. He got out of his car, and his part was very clean. However, the police did not believe what Mr. Reeves William had to say because he was homeless and he has lots of histories that he was assumed to be the criminal. And that's what my client is claiming, and he wants to make sure that somebody actually looks into what really happened. And officer even told at that time that both of them will be arrested because he could not decide who was the one who threw the food. However, only he was arrested, and the other guy who was wearing fancy clothes and fancy car with a fancy fancy stuff, he was kind of like let go of. We would like to request for a signature on bond for giving him a benefit of doubt. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for maximum $1,000. Also that he has a disability, dyslexia, so he cannot read and write. So it causes a lot of difficulties for him. Thank you.
Ms. Kim, I think that he needs a social worker visit.
Absolutely.
So what I'm going to do at this time is for the simple matter, it's going to be $1,000 good bond. For the criminal trespass, it'll be a $500 good bond, making for a total of a $1,500 good bond. A social worker visit. Stay away from the Dunkin' Donuts. No further contact with Mr. Turks, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. If the state all-purpose calendar is October 11th, if you'll have the social worker report to me at the SAP calendar, then I'm happy to take that into consideration in regards to the bond going forward if necessary, okay?
Yes, thank you very much.
Good luck to you, Mr. Reese.
Yeah, right.
Position 16, Mr. White. Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. White. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. White, you've been charged in case 22 CR 006571J with battery against a female who is pregnant. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
His fourth arrest last was September 21st out of Swanee for suspended license. 2018 simple battery. It was dismissed after PTR. 2019 obstruction conviction out of Henry County. That's all I have.
Okay, Ms. King?
Yes, Your Honor. This offense occurred on June 12th of this year. Officers responded to 5474 Oakley Industrial Boulevard, apartment 616. Upon arrival, they spoke with the victim in this case, Jasmine Burnett, Jasmine, last name Burnet. And she stated her boyfriend, who was the defendant, punched her in the face after an argument over a name found in her phone, Your Honor. When they arrived, the defendant was not on the scene. At the time of speaking with her, the victim did advise the officer she was 8 months pregnant at the time and that the defendant was the father of that child. While she did not talk about any other injuries, she did say her sister was going to transport her to the hospital. We've been in close contact with this victim, Your Honor, and we have found out this morning that she did deliver that baby that night, a premature baby, Your Honor. It is the state's contention that that delivery came forth from this battery, Your Honor. She states that the incident location is her residence, so the state will be requesting a stay away. And she did also say that she called the police on this defendant a month ago because he mushed her in the face and she believed her nose was broken. She did receive medical attention after that. She also said she made a police report, but no arrests were made. We are currently looking into that to see what transpired from that incident report. The victim in this case is saying that she does not fear him and wants contact, but especially with this new information, Your Honor, the states feel that's very inappropriate. For that reason, we're asking for a $4,000 surety, no further contact with Ms. Jasmine Burnett, a stay away from the incident location, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. White is 23 years old, Your Honor. He was born and raised here in Georgia. And he believes that he actually denies all the allegation. He said he did not hit her. It happened a long time ago. They are now good relationship. And he says that his baby was, it has nothing to do with his hitting, because he did not hit. That's what he says. He has a big family here in Georgia, strong ties to the community. He has a job. Actually, he does upload and unload trucks. However, he's very afraid that he's going to lose a job because he has been in jail from September 21, 2022 at Gwinnett first, and then he got transferred to Fulton County yesterday. So he's been already in the jail for 1 week and he could not go to the work. So he's afraid that he's going to lose a job. So he cannot pay for bond, and he also has a new baby to take care of. So we would like to ask for signature on bond. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond because of open case that is pending, we would like to request for maximum $1,000 surety bond. Thanks.
What was he in Gwinnett? What was the charge in
He
Gwinnett?
was driving without license that was suspended, revoked, which was traffic issue. However, because of the hold that he had here in Fulton County, he had to be transferred. He could not get out of it.
Okay. And I know that the victim's name in this case is Burnett. Is that in relation to the Alexandra Bennett that's on the line or not? Okay, I guess not. Anything further?
Are you asking, is it open, Your Honor? The state is just adamantly opposed to a signature bond under the facts and due to the defendant's criminal history, especially the new information that we got this morning from our victim.
Okay, thank you. It's going to be a $2,000 good bond, no further contact with Ms. Burnett, stay away from the Oakley industrial address, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. I'm not going to keep him from his child, but he's going to have third-party transfer of the child for visitation.
Can he still have a one-time law enforcement officer visit to get his personal belongings?
Of course, one time he can go to the Oakley industrial address with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. Good luck to you, Mr. White.
Position 17, Williams. Have a seat over here. Have a seat over here.
Good afternoon, Mr. Williams. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Williams, you've been charged in case 22 CR 006568G with fair evasion and obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Is your history, Mr. Howard?
Third arrest. Last was 2019 misdemeanor obstruction and simple battery. I think it was bound over from municipal court. Yeah. Before that, 2019 misdemeanor possession of marijuana. It was dismissed.
Your Honor, actually, this is the case that my client wanted to take the plea offer that Solicitor Delania King made. So he said he would like to go as a pro se.
Yes, who should I send the paperwork to?
Okay, hold on. Let me speak with Mr. Williams first off. Mr. Williams, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We've offered the services of Ms. Kim, who's been advising you in this regard. You've been charged with fair evasion and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Courtroom 2, can you unmute for me, please? Okay, and it's my what was the offer, Ms. King?
It is time served, Your Honor.
Which is 2 days?
That is correct.
Okay, so if that's the case that you want to take that offer, Mr. Williams, that is your prerogative too. You also have the option of getting a bond on the case, and that might be a signature bond in this matter, so that you could come back and have representation by a lawyer with regards to these charges. What would you like to do?
I'll just plead guilty.
Okay, so if we can get the paperwork to Mr. Williams and get him to sign that, then we'll come back and we'll take the plea later in the court session.
Go ahead and have a seat. Position 14, Tobias.
Good afternoon, Mr. Tobias. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
So is that a yes, that you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. You've been charged in case 22 CR 006569E with hindering person making an emergency telephone call and cruelty to animals. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Third arrest. Last was 2013 battery DV. 2 counts of cruelty in the third. They were dismissed. And a 2011 driving without a valid license, dismissed.
Okay, Ms. King?
Yes, Your Honor. Oops, let me get my screen up. This offense occurred on September 26th. Officers were dispatched to a physical dispute at 12030 Wildwood Springs Drive in Roswell. Upon arrival, they met with the caller, who was Gail Tobias, the wife of the defendant. And she states that he and her son, Brandon Revelo, got into an altercation involving an animal. She also told law enforcement that the defendant is known to be violent, and when the officers got there, the Brendan was actually holding him down to keeping him from battering the dog further. When they spoke about what's happened, Brendan stated that the dog defecated inside of the house, and as a punishment, the defendant decided to discipline the dog with their shoe. After speaking with the victim today, we found out that the defendant also choked the dog. The dog is 10-year-old, it's a Maltese, it's a loved pet within the family, so this has deeply traumatized the family. As the defendant went after the dog again, Brendan stood in the way to keep him from harming the dog while his wife called 911. Ultimately, the officers got there and able to get control of the situation. When we spoke to the victim today, he says that he is the son of the defendant and that he fears the defendant and he fears for the safety of the dog. He said the dog is okay and has recovered from the incident. We also spoke with the wife, Miss Gail, and she stated that she does not want the defendant to return to the home under any circumstances. She states they have a home in Florida that she would like for him to go to. She says she's okay with a one-time law enforcement to come to the home so he can retrieve his belongings. The state is requesting a $4,000 surety. That's $2,000 on each count. No further contact with Gail Tobias or Brendan Ravello, Brendon, last name Ravello. A stay away from the incident location. No animals in his home, and he is not to be in the company of any animals as well, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Okay, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Mr. Tobias is 57 years old, Your Honor. And he has been here in Georgia for about last 15 years. He has 3 children, wife, his family is all here in Georgia. He has a strong tie to the community. Also, he's gainfully employed at DXI Technology as an information security officer. He has been doing that job for 5 years. I don't think he wants to move to Florida unless it is only like 1 or 2 hours away. We would like to request for signature on bond because we believe he's qualified. All those charges in the past, they were all dismissed, and even though they were not dismissed, they're still very remote. And we would like to. He also served Army from 1986 to 1992, and he's been discharged with honorable discharge. We want him to get a signature on bond, and we don't have an objection to stay away or no further contact, and yet he wants to keep his job. Thank you.
Your Honor, the victims are on the call. If you would please sound for them.
Okay, Mr. Ravello and Mrs. Tobias, this is your opportunity to speak. If you would like to do that, you are not required to speak, but if you would like to speak, you'll have to unmute yourself and activate your camera. Fill you in. Okay, Ms. Kane, it does not appear that that they wish to speak at this time. As such, for
She's asking for a moment, Your Honor.
all right,
Sorry.
all right, you all have more than one device that's turned. You're gonna have to turn one of your devices off because there's
Okay. Hello?
Yes, can you hear us? Can you activate your camera, Mr. Ravello?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, can you activate your camera for the court?
Okay, give me one moment. Both me and my mother, his wife, are present, so just give me one moment. Hello?
Okay, yes, can you raise your right hand? So if you would like to testify, do you swear from the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can put your hands down. What would you like to tell the court?
So first, in regarding his issue of his job, he currently works remotely, and he has been able to work away from the home as long as internet connection for extended periods of time on end. So
Okay,
that
it's my understanding that you all do not wish to have him back in the home. Is that correct?
yes.
Okay, so that's what the court's gonna order, that he's not to, he can come back on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings, but he's not gonna be able to have any contact with either of you. And he's gonna be required to stay away from the home, okay? So I hope that takes care of that issue. What else would you like to tell the court?
I think that's it.
That'll be all.
Okay, all right, and I believe that Ms. King has informed me of your desires also, so we appreciate you being here this afternoon.
Okay, thank you.
As such, for the hindering a person making a phone call, emergency phone call, it's going to be $1,000 SOB through pretrial. For the cruelty to animals, it's going to be a $4,000 SOB through pretrial. 1 day anger awareness, no further contact with Mr. Revelo or Ms. Tobias. Stay away from the Wildwood Springs address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond, and no animals can be in your possession, Mr. Tobias, while you're out on bond. Okay, anything further on Mr. Tobias?
Nothing from the state.
All right, good luck to you all, Mr. and Mrs. Tobias and Mr. Revelo.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, where are we going next?
Position 12, Ross.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ross. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You have been charged in case 22 CR 006567A with one misdemeanor offense. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
First arrest.
Okay, Ms. King?
Yes, Your Honor. This offense occurred on September 26th. The victim was in the self-checkout line at the Publix located at 1425 Market Boulevard in Roswell. Well, this actually started while she was actually shopping. The victim states that the defendant was following her around the store, making unwanted comments towards her about her body, about her looks, even saying that she looked like a stripper and things like he likes to touch strippers, things like that. He even asked her if she would leave the store with him and his friends. She was feeling very uncomfortable. She finished her shopping trip and got to the self-checkout line, which is when the incident occurred, Your Honor. She even yelled at him and confronted him, like, did you really do that? And he said, yes. When law enforcement arrived, he admitted to following her around the store. He admitted to the comments and he admitted to the incident that's before Your Honor today. We've been in close contact with this victim, and she states that she frequents this Publix and fears running into the defendant again. I believe she's on the call as well, if Your Honor would sound for her in the conclusion of my presentation. The state is requesting a $3,000 surety in this case. No further contact with Amira Iman Thiam, AMIRAH IMAN THIAM. Stay away from that Publix location and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. While this defendant does not have a lengthy criminal history, this event was very traumatizing to the victim, and it seems to be a random act. We're concerned for the safety of Fulton County citizens as a whole, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to ask Miss Amira if she wants to talk. Maybe the conversation can be more general and discreet. Actually, Mr. Ross is 24 years old, Your Honor, and he has been here in Georgia only 23 years, right? He was almost born here. He was born in London, but he came here when he was 1 year old. And he is single. He has all his family members here in Georgia, and he also works at Publix as a beggar. And he's afraid that he may have lost his job by now. He has been working there for 1 year and 8 months. He actually studied some at Kennesaw University. He has an associate degree from Gwinnett County, Gwinnett Technology. He studies history, and however, he wants to pursue interior design and building design, as that's his dream and aspiration. We would like to request for signature on bond. We believe that he's qualified and this is his first offense. So that's what we would like to request for. Thank you very much.
All right, if Ms. Thiam is on the line and wishes to address the court, this is the opportunity. You do not have to address the court, but if you would like to address the court, I will need for you to raise your right hand for me. Do you swear to affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can put your hand down, man. What would you like to tell the court?
I'm honestly feared for him to get out on bond. When I got that call this morning, I really am not comfortable with it. My car in Atlanta was just stolen, my Range Rover, maybe 2 weeks ago. And I've been fighting with that case and everything. And then after watching this Jeffrey Dahmer case, he's reminding me of that. And I'm literally scared. I don't even want to say, I'm scared to even say that I live close by that Publix. That's the same Publix me and my mother goes to, my niece, my daughter goes to. This is where we all go to. And I literally walked out of there, sir, after telling everybody in Publix what he did, after he admitted. And I literally was going to walk out. And I was like, you know what, God, I'm thinking about my daughter. And I literally start just going crazy in my brain. Like I'm scared because this man, touched me. So as I'm walking back in there, I realized they still have him there. So guess what? He's still able to do the same thing to another person if he was in there. You get what I'm saying? So this person said that he liked me and that he was just saying all the conversations that he was saying at self-checkout. It was really so intense that I'm like, you don't like me? You don't know me. And I've been going there for at least the last 3 years. And I don't know if I ever saw him, but I'm scared for my life. I am, because it was so weird. I'm a married woman. I've been married 6 years and ain't no man touched me. And like I said, when I walked outside of the facility and I came back there after management didn't do anything, I had to call the police because I feared for myself the next time I walk outside or even go to sleep or even come and shop at Publix. And and the fact that he said he intentionally did it, Your Honor, he don't need to be outside. If you intentionally saying that you did it, like that's weird. It's scaring me. I should not have to be outside like that. And I'm just saying this, if it was and I'm gonna say this because I'm a Black woman and ain't nobody gonna touch me or my Black behind. If it was a white woman being touched by a Black employee at Publix, that Black man would have not walked out of side Publix. And I'm gonna end it at that. Please do not give him a bond. I'm begging you. Because I live too close to that Publix. And that man, I don't care how old you are. At this point, you need to learn. Because I thought he was actually slow when I was talking to him. I was being nice. But the fact that he told the cops and the management told me that he has it all there, then he needs to has it all there in jail.
Okay. Ms. Thiam, let me just tell you that I see your passion there. This is a misdemeanor offense, and anyone that is accused of a misdemeanor offense, they have a right to have a bond. So he can't be denied a bond on this matter, but I can certainly put restrictions on that bond. Okay, so I just want you to know that that he does have a right to have a bond, but I appreciate everything that you have to say.
Thank you.
All right, so I also see a Miss Cindy Ross. I don't know if Miss Ross would like to address this matter. You don't have to. This is your opportunity to address it if you would like to, ma'am. And if you do, I'm gonna have to swear you in, and you're gonna have to unmute yourself so I can hear you.
Yes, sir. I've unmuted and
Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes, sir.
Okay, what would you like to tell the court?
First of all, my apologies to the young lady who just spoke. I'm in shock because this is not characteristic of my son. I guess that's all I can say. I take it very seriously, as does his dad, and I will commit to doing everything I can to keep him safe, to give him further education about proper social mores.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ross. He's a 24-year-old man. Does he live in a household with you?
Yes, sir, he does.
Okay, and is there a reason that he's at 24 still living with you in your home?
He has some learning disabilities
Okay,
and was not cutting it in college and has been trying to work and get enough hours so that he can eventually live independently.
all right. Thank you, Ms.
Point. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Ross. I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. King, Ms. Kim, anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
No, that just take heed to the victim's statement, Your Honor, and grant a surety bond in this case.
Okay.
Signature bond, this is first offense, and it's all speculation that he's gonna do again. I don't think he will do. I have more faith in him.
He better not, ever.
Well, the thing is I can monitor him if I put him on pretrial. So I think that I prefer to monitor him as opposed to just putting him back out. So it's gonna be a $10,000 SOB through pretrial. I want him to have a social worker visit, Ms. Kim,
Yes.
so that they can assess any behavioral problems.
Sure.
Obviously, no further contact with Ms. Thiam. I hate to keep him from his job, but given that this is a place that Ms. Thiam goes regularly, I'm not going to restrict her from going to where she goes regularly. So the only option that I have is that he can not go back to that Publix that's on Market Boulevard. He's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Mr. Ross, I just want to tell you that with a $10,000 SOB pretrial, if you violate any of these conditions, then you're going to be back where you are, and the bond is going to be a $10,000 bond. Understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Okay. Good luck to all of you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Position 1, Ball.
Good afternoon, Ms. Ball. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Ball, you've been charged in case 22 CR 006555G with battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
The ninth arrest. Last was 2018 probation out of Rockdale. Another 2018 probation, 2017 probation. All of that came off of possession of meth from 2017, 2016 trespass conviction, 2015 robbery, cruelty in the third, burglary in the first, suspended license, hindering person from making 911 call. All of those were dismissed. She pled NOLO in 2014 to suspended license and 2011 as well. That's all I have.
Okay, Ms. Salette.
Yes, Your Honor. On September 25th, 2022, the victim in this case, Alexandra Bennett, and the defendant were friends at the time, and Ms. Bennett was helping the defendant move into her apartment located at 8601 Roberts Drive, Sandy Springs, Georgia. While the victim was helping the defendant move, the defendant became upset when the victim asked if her dog could sit on the couch. The defendant became enraged and cornered the victim and began punching the victim in the face, and also pulling on her dress. The victim called the Sandy Springs police. They were dispatched out, and the officer, Mountain, could notice visible cuts on the victim's lips and bruising on the victim's face. He also noticed that the victim's dress was ripped as well. We have had contact with the victim, and she is actually on the Zoom today. If Your Honor would hear from her, if she would like to speak. The state's recommendation is a $4,000 surety bond, no contact with Alexandra Bennett, ALEXANDRA BENNETT, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a 1-day anger management class, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Danielle Ball is 31 years old. She has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 7 years. She has family here, including her mother and her father, along with her 2 children, ages 15 and 11. She is the primary caretaker, and she is not receiving any child support. Your Honor, Ms. Ball completed high school. She is currently employed at Boston Scientific and has been so for the past 2 years. Your Honor, she denies the allegations. She states that she was merely acting in self-defense. She states that the complaining witness actually attacked her. She hit her in the head. And my client, Ms. Ball, states that she has bruises on her arm along with bite marks and scratches on her chest. I acknowledge my client's history. However, Your Honor, I did not hear about any convictions. The probation violations are remote, and she is not currently on probation now, Your Honor. I'm requesting a signature bond on Ms. Ball's behalf. If Your Honor determines that she is ineligible, then I would ask for a bond of no more than $1,000. And regarding contact, Your Honor, my client informed me that Ms. Bennett is actually her best friend and she wants contact with her. However, I have not had the occasion to speak to Ms. Bennett, so we will defer to the court's ruling. Thank you, Your Honor.
I'll hear from Ms. Bennett herself if she'd like to address that. Ms. Bennett, if you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity. You'll have to unmute yourself and I will have to swear you in.
I am unmuted.
Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I swear.
You can put your hand down. What would you like to tell the court, Ms. Bennett?
She was definitely not acting in self-defense. We had both been drinking, yes. And I was going to bed. We were outside smoking a cigarette. She had just gotten her child back. She had him about 18 hours at this point. And I don't let my dog on the couch. And she didn't want the dog on the couch, but her son wanted the dog on the couch. I think she was acting out of protection because she didn't want me to tell her son what to do. And at that point, I was like, well, if you won't let me, if you don't want to tell him, I will tell him whenever I see the dog on the couch. And I went to blow up the blow up mattress. And after that, she came in after me and she started pummeling me. She threw me against the walls, held me down, grabbed my hair. I have significant lacerations all over my face. I have whiplash on my neck and bruising all over my head from where she had me by the hair. I screamed out for her child, so he can testify if the court allows that I screamed for his name. And I do not think that I do not want contact by any means. I do not think that she is safe around her children.
Objection, Your Honor.
Okay, just tell me about you, Ms. Bennett.
I do have a lot of items in her house that are mine that I brought up because I live in Florida. I would like to acquire those at some point. And I do not want any contact though. I know that it is a tricky situation as I'm not on the lease and that is her home. I do have a written list of things. She can keep everything that I bought for her. I furnished that whole house for her. I want my personal items back, but I'm definitely in fear of my life. I do not wish to have contact with her. And I think that's all I have to say.
Okay, Ms. Bennett, and that's the Roberts Drive address, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, is that where you are now or you're someplace else?
No, I'm at my mother's house.
Okay, and how long do you think it's gonna take do you have the ability to go get your belongings at the present time?
Yes, if we are allowed inside of the apartment, I have the ability to get my belongings.
Were you living in that apartment?
I was staying with her for about a month. I have text messages to that effect that she wanted me to come up, help her acclimate, her and her son getting custody back, getting him back in her custody.
So I guess what I'm asking you is, do you have access to that home at the present time that you could go get your belongings?
She took my key off of the key ring when she let me leave. She did let me leave.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Bennett. I appreciate it. Anything further, Ms. Salette or Ms. Gant? I want Ms. Bennett to be able to get her belongings back, but I just need to fashion that in a way that that Ms. Ball won't be there, as there will be no further contact. Anyone have any suggestions?
Your Honor, a one-time law enforcement escort for Ms. Bennett to retrieve any belongings. Ms. Ball assures me that this is in fact her residence.
Okay, Ms. Salette?
I think that would be appropriate, Your Honor. The state just wants to reiterate that we don't believe that a signature bond is appropriate in this case due to the injuries the victim sustained. And I think that her testimony here today speaks for itself, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. It's going to be a $2,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Bennett. Ms. Bennett can go to the Roberts Drive address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any of her belongings. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons for Ms. Ball are out on bond. And okay. Good luck to you, Ms. Bennett and Ms. Ball.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Can we take the courtroom one, the interpreter case now? Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, that's fine, Judge.
All right, so this is your case, Ms. Gant? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
You pronounce the last name for me?
Chinena.
Chinena. All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Chinena. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. We are conducting this hearing by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
مساء الخير مستر جنينة. أنا اسمي جورج إيريك. إحنا عم نعمل المقابلة اليوم خلال الفيديو على الكمبيوتر. هل عندك قابل هالشيء أنت؟
نعم بستطيع.
Yes.
Okay. It's my understanding that this is Mr. Chinena's first arrest.
هذه أول مرة ينقبض عليك.
Ms. Salette?
I believe that's correct, Your Honor.
Mr. Chinena, you have been charged with criminal trespass and loitering and prowling.
الاتهام ضدك هو التعدي على ممتلكات الغير والتسكع والتجول.
Ms. Salette?
Yes, Your Honor. On September 23rd, 2022, officers from Atlanta Police Department were dispatched to 3315 Roswell Road, apartment 2067.
اوكي، في سبتمبر 23 سنة 2022 الشرطة وصلوا جالهم طلب لحتى يروحون على العنوان 3315 رازويل رود، رقم الشقة 2067.
Upon arrival, officers met with a Charlotte Hedgepeth, CHARLOTTEHEDGEPETH. And she stated that while she was taking a shower in her apartment, she heard someone come inside of her apartment. When she went out into the living room, she saw the defendant standing there, who she did not know.
اللي دعت عليه انه هي كانت عم تاخذ حمام، عم تتحمم، وبعدين شافت واحد داخل في الغرفة في الصالة تبعها، وشخص هي ما بتعرفه.
The officer's investigation revealed that the defendant lives in that apartment complex, but lives in a completely different building. The investigation also revealed that the victim's door was unlocked at the time. And when asked why the defendant entered into the residence, he stated that the door was unlocked, so he wanted to go inside and explore.
البوليس قال انه انت المدعي عليه انك عايش نفس المجمع بس في بنايه مختلفه تماما، واللي حكيته انه كان الباب مش مقفول وانت دخلت بدك تشوف شو في يعني جوا.
Officers also stated that the defendant is being investigated currently for a package theft in that same apartment complex.
كمان الشرطة عم يعملوا تحريات لأنه نفس المتهم المدعى عليه إنه عليك اتهام إنه سارق صندوق.
And Your Honor, the DA's office has actually stated that they will be taking this case as, and we did email Ms. Bridgewater a transfer order, but we will make a bond recommendation today. The state is requesting a $2,500 surety bond on each charge and no contact with the victim, Alexandra Bennett. Stay away from the incident location, 3315 Roswell Road, Grand Mercy at Buckhead Apartments, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Excuse me, you misstated the name of the victim. You stated the name of the prior victim from the last case. Charlotte Hedgepeth is the victim, and I'd like him staying away from her, please.
Thank you. I apologize. The victim's name is Charlotte Hedgepeth.
هن عم يقترحوا إنه كفالة 2500 لكل اتهام، اللي عندك اتهامين، وما ممنوع تتصل يكون أي علاقة بينك وبين شارلوت هيدجباث. I'm sorry, Miss Attorney, the interpreter needs a clarification. The last part, to stay away from which address? 3315, you said?
Yes, Roswell Road, Grand Mercy at Buckhead Apartments.
اوكي، انك تبعد عن الشقه بتاعتها اللي هي عنوانها 3315 رازويل رود، جراند ميرسي، مجمع اسمه جراند ميرسي.
Anything further, Ms. Samet?
Nothing further from the state at this time, unless Mr. Hedgepeth, the victim's father, I believe, would like to speak.
Well, Your Honor, Ms. Hedgepeth, my daughter is here.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna get to, let me run the court, Ms. Tillett. I will go to Ms. Gant.
Sorry, Your Honor.
That's fine. Ms. Gant, you're up next.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Allah Chinena is 27 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area since August of 2022, and he has a friend here.
Yes, it's called Pawan. I live with him.
Mr. Chinena, please remain silent. Madam Interpreter.
ما لازم تحكي ولا شيء مستر جنينة. هي عم بتقول انك عمرك 27 سنة، جيت لهون من شهر أغسطس 2022 وعندك صاحب هنا.
Mr. Chinena has an MBA and he is currently unemployed.
عندك شهادة MBA بوقت الحالي إنك ما بتشتغل.
He denies the allegations and he is presumed innocent.
هو يقول إنه بريء.
Given that this is his first arrest, Your Honor, I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Chinena's behalf.
إنه أول مرة يعني توقع بهيك غلطة بهيك جريمة إنه هي بدها إياك تاخذ signature bond إنك تطلع بدون أي كفالة بدون ما تدفع أي مصاري.
We are unopposed to the no contact order. However, we are opposed to the stay away as my client informs me that his current address is 3315 Roswell Road Northeast, apartment 2067.
احنا ما عندنا مشكلة انه هو ما يكون له اي علاقة بالبنت هذه، بس عندنا مشكلة انه ما يقدر يكون بعيد عن العنوان اللي هو 3315 رازويل رود لانه هو عايش بشقة 2069.
Nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Excuse me to interrupt,
Yes,
but-
hold on, ma'am. Yes, I'm gonna get to you, okay? So, Ms. Hedgepath or Mr. Hedgepath, if you would like to, testify in this matter, I'll go to you first, Ms. Hedgepath, if you'll have to raise your right hand for me. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Thank you, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court? And be mindful that we have an interpreter here. So I'll need for you to speak in a slow pace so that she can properly interpret, okay?
Sir. Just want to say everything was accurate. I was in the shower, heard the door open, stepped out, and he was just standing in my hallway. I'll pause.
أنا ما عندي معارضة عن اللي قال. أنا كنت في بيتي عم بتحمم، فتحت الباب لقيته، طلعت من الحمام لقيته هو واقف في الممر.
Stepped out. I asked him, "Who are you? What are you doing here? Do you live here?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Then go to your own apartment." To which he left my apartment. I shut the door. I proceeded to call my roommate, and she was on speakerphone, so she can testify. He comes back to my door. And then I asked him again, "Do you live here?" He said, "No, your door was unlocked. I'm exploring unlocked apartments." And that's when I called the cops and everything happened.
Okay, hold on. Let her interpret.
Thank you, Your Honor. أنا سألته مين أنت وليش أنت هنا؟ اطلع من الشقة تبعي. هو طلع بعدين سكرت الباب، اتصلت بالروميت، حطيتها على عشان تسمع الحكي، وبعدين اتصلت بالبوليس.
I do want to state that the address that was just stated to be his, the apartment number that was stated 2067, that's my apartment number. That is not his apartment number.
And Your Honor, I do apologize for interrupting. I do have in my notes that number and also 2043. So I believe I misspoke by stating her address. His address is his apartment number is actually 2043, and I do apologize.
أنا بصحح رقم الشقة تبعك اللي هي 2043. هي عطت الشقة رقم غلط.
Okay, anything further, Mr. Hedgepath? Okay, Mr. Hedgepath.
Your Honor, just
Your Honor,
briefly.
if I may, Your Honor, I do object to Mr. Hedgepath's testimony, Your Honor. He is not a party to this case.
I'm an attorney and I'm representing the victim.
Okay, and it's my policy in this court to listen to anyone who would like to address the court. So, Mr. Hedgepath, if you'll raise your right hand for me, swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'll just state briefly that this possibly was seconds away from an aggravated felony, given the nature of him entering my daughter's.
Okay, hold on. Let me, everyone, please. I have already let you all know that we have Madam Interpreter here. So please be mindful that this all needs to be interpreted for the defendant. So we do realize that it's my understanding that this may be increased to a felony, but we're here on the issue of bond on the charges that he currently faces. Mr. Hedgepath.
then I'll be brief, Your Honor. I insist on a stay away provision from any bond that you would give him, understanding that this matter may be bound over to the Superior Court. But given
Okay, stay right there. Go ahead, Madam Interpreter.
اوكي اللي عم يحكي هلا اسمه جون هيتشباث اللي هو ابوها للبنت، بس هو عم يحكي لان هو كمان محامي، فيقول ان هذه القضيه لازم يكون اقرب شيء او تتحول او تكون قريبه على جريمه شديده، وانا بدي اياه اكيد انه يكون يعني في قانون انه يمنعك تكون تقرب على البنت.
Go ahead, Mr. Hedgeberg.
It was stated that he'd been in this apartment only a month and that he is staying with someone else. So I highly doubt that he is a lessee of this property.
يقولون انك صار لك بس شهر واحد وانك قاعد مع حد ثاني، يعني الشقه مش تحت اسمك.
Therefore, I reiterate my request that there be a stay away provision.
أنا مشان هيك بدي أأكد إنه يكون في قانون إنه يمنعك تقرب على البنت.
That's all I have to say, Your Honor.
And it's my understanding that 2067 is in a different building than 2043. Is that correct or not?
That's correct.
الشقة رقم 2067 بغير بناية عن الشقة اللي هي 2043. هل هذا صح؟ البنت قالت صح.
All right. Anything further, Ms. Salet or Ms. Gant?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Salet?
Your Honor, I just wanted to add, I know that he doesn't have any prior history, but that he's already been being investigated for 2 separate incidents in this same apartment complex. So to stay away from that apartment complex, we're really recommending that, Your Honor.
أنا بعرف إنه هو ما عنده سوابق بس هلا عنده اتهامات 2، بس أنا أقترحه إنه هو يبعد عن المجمع هذا.
All right, so on the criminal trespass, it's going to be $1,000 good bond. On the loitering and prowling, it's going to be $1,000 good bond. I don't know whether or not this is a leasee or his home or not, but he's not to have any further contact with Ms. Hedgepath. He's not to go to Ms. Hedgepath's building, which is at 2067 at the 3315 Roswell Road. I'm not going to keep him away from his apartment, but I am going to keep him away from her building and from her apartment, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
الباند تبعك الكفالة لأول اتهام هو تعدي على ممتلكات غير $1000، والتعدي الثاني اللي هو التسكع والتجول $1000، ولازم تبعد عن الشقة بتاعتها اللي عنوانها 3315 رازو رود، شقة رقم 2067، وتكون يعني ما تقرب عليها، وممنوع أي كحول أو مخدرات أو سلاح يكون معك، بس تقدر تظل بالشقة تبعك.
Anything further on Mr. Chinena?
Nothing from the defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
Nothing from the state.
Good luck to all of you all.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we be excused?
Yes, have a good day.
Thank you.
Your Honor, may I be excused?
Yes, thank you, Madam Interpreter. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Here it goes. Position 13, Sterling.
Good afternoon, Ms. Sterling. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Sterling, you've been charged in case 22 CR 006566F with battery, family violence, and criminal trespass and damage to property. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Second arrest, 2006, felony theft by receiver. It was not presented to grand jury.
Okay. Ms. Kim.
Did you say Ms. King or you said Ms.
I'm
King?
sorry, Ms.
Oh.
Kim.
This offense occurred on September 25th, Your Honor. Officers responded to a fight call at 187 Maury Avenue, Moury, and this occurred in apartment 1712. Upon arrival, they met with the defendant, who stated that the victim, Kalisha Arnold, Celeshia, last name Arnold, tossed all belongings out of the apartment. When the officers actually went to the apartment to speak with Miss Arnold, she informed them that the defendant had been staying with her briefly, and then an argument arose between the two. At that point, the defendant struck Miss Arnold in the left eye with a closed fist, and the officer did note seeing substantial swelling to her left eye, as well as a laceration. The victim also told the officer that the defendant kicked in the front window of the apartment, causing it to break. We have been in contact with this victim, and she states that the defendant is the girlfriend of her brother, and the victim had been staying there until she got on her feet. And the victim did confirm with us again that she struck her in the face and that her eye is still swollen. The victim does not fear the defendant and doesn't mind having contact, but she does not want her back at her residence for any reason. The state is requesting a $5,000 surety in this case, $4,000 for the battery family violence, and $1,000 for the criminal trespass. Despite what the victim is requesting, the state is still asking for no contact due to the substantialness of the injury, and as well as the close contact that the defendant has with the victim, as well as a stay away and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Okay, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. Kimberly Sterling is actually very young, 34 years old. And indeed, she said they were not boyfriend, girlfriend, but like sister. She is complaining witness. Celestia Arnold is actually sister-in-law, sister of her husband, actually. And this is self-defense for my client. And my client also has a lot of bruises and cuts. So as soon as she was arrested to the jail, everybody was like, oh my gosh, look at her, cuts. So she was indeed sent to Grady for medical attention. It was studied by the initial aggressor was actually Miss Arnold. And the window that they claimed that it was broken has been cracked and broken for over 1 year. So my client has nothing to do with that. And not September, Your Honor, they do not reside together at all. My client resides at Decatur, Georgia. So, and she has no objection to stay away from the incident location, which is kind of far from her anyway. And my client has 5 minor children, Your Honor, and one of them is only 10 months old, and she's still breastfeeding her child. And she's working at Delta Airport as a customer service representative. She's been doing that for about 1.5 years. She has a bachelor's degree for criminal justice, and this is, I believe, her first offense ever. We would like to, except that 2006, which was way, way remote. We would like to request for a signature on bond. Thank you.
Okay, so she doesn't have to go back to the Maury Avenue address, and she doesn't have to be around Miss Arnold. Is that what you're telling me, Miss Kim?
Yes, correct, Your Honor.
So it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial for the battery, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial for the criminal trespass, which makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Arnold, stay away from the Maury Avenue address, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. All right, good luck to you, Ms. Sterling.
Thank you.
Position number 9 at the South Annex, Your Honor.
Hold on, Ms. Milton. Position 5, Grissom.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Grissom. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Grissom, you've been charged in case 22 CR 0065598 with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Second arrest. Last was 2004 ag assault. It was amended to reckless conduct.
Okay.
Got first offender for that.
Ms. Salet?
Yes, Your Honor. On July 29th, 2022, at 525 Pickford Place, South Fulton, Georgia, Officer Lee was dispatched to the incident location. And upon arrival, he spoke with the victim, Loretta Grissom, who is the wife of the defendant. Ms. Grissom stated that while she was getting ready to take her sons to school, her and the defendant got into a verbal dispute. The victim attempted to leave the location, but the defendant would not give her the keys to the vehicle so she could leave. At the same time, the defendant was also standing on her foot, and so she pushed him off of her foot so she could attempt to leave again, and the defendant then pushed her, threw the keys at her, and also threw their son's bike at her. The defendant then shoved the victim down to the ground and began yelling at her. Upon the officer's arrival, the defendant had already fled the scene at that time. The state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, no contact with the victim, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a one-day anger awareness. Nothing further from the state at this time.
Is there a stay away requested, Ms. Salet?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I'm sorry, did you give me that address?
My apologies. The incident location is 525 Pickford Place, South Fulton. And the victim's name is Loretta Grissom, LORETTA GRISSOM.
Okay. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Antonio Grissom is 43 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 39 years. He is married and has been so for 7 years to the complaining witness, Mrs. Grissom. They share 4 children, ages 19, 6, and 4. He, his wife, and the children all reside at the marital home, which is the incident location. Your Honor, Mr. Grissom completed high school. He also has a master's degree in education. He is currently employed as a school counselor and has been so for 9 years. Your Honor, Mr. Grissom denies the allegations. He, in fact, was unaware of this warrant. He states that he came to be arrested because he lost his phone. He called the police, and of course, he learned about the warrant. He does want to have contact with his wife. I spoke with Ms. Grissom as well. She wants to have contact, Your Honor. Therefore, I am opposed to any stay away and no contact provisions. I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Grissom's behalf. He has recommended, and the arrest, of course, first offender, it's remote. And finally, Your Honor, if Your Honor determines that he's ineligible for a signature bond, I would ask for a bond of no more than $1,000. And again, we're opposed to any stay away and no contact orders. Thank you.
Ms. Grissom, I see you there. If you would like to address the court, I'll need for you to raise your right hand for me. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, yes, Your Honor.
You can put your hand down. Thank you, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
I would like to say that over a month ago, I reached out to the South Fulton City of Police Department, saying to them that I did not want to move forward with this case. I was contacted by investigator Rakisha Smith, who reached out to me and said that in order for us not to move forward with the case, I would have to send an email in response to one that she would send to me, which I did. So I thought that was the end of it. My husband is a good man. He is also a great father, an amazing father. And so I do not fear for my life regarding him. I do not fear for my children's life who love him. Sunday, we were together. We took them to Frozen on Ice, all 3 of them. And then we also went to church service Sunday night. So for this to happen the very next day was very disturbing and very traumatic. I'm sorry. I believe that life happens and sometimes it's not good. But I do believe that I believe in my husband and I believe in us. And I am asking, I know what the state is saying, but I am asking, financially, we are not where we will be, but I'm asking for a signature bond for him. He does not have to stay away from me because that also means staying away from our children. And I don't want that. So I just ask that you'll hear my heart. I know that you'll make whatever decision that you purpose to do, but this was an isolated incident and this is not his character. So I just wanted to make sure that I say that so that that is on record coming from me, his wife.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Grissom. Anything further, counsel?
Nothing from you, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, Ms. Gant. The state will just add that this incident did happen in July of this year. So there's been a cool down period at this point, but the victim has not denied that this incident occurred. And she did call the police on that day. So the state will reiterate its initial recommendation. But I do understand the discretion of the court, Your Honor.
Thank you. It's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial, 1-day anger awareness class, no further violent contact with Ms. Grissom, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good luck to you all.
What's that total?
2,000 signature bond through pretrial. All right.
Position 7, Massaria.
Good afternoon, Mr. Massaria. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
17.
Do I agree?
Yes.
To be handled by video, just, okay.
We're doing this by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video, sir?
Yes.
Okay. You've been charged in case 22 CR 006560C with criminal trespass. To your history, Mr. Howard?
11 total. Last arrest was in January. A felony theft by taking conviction. April 2021. Misdemeanor theft by receiving conviction. Another April 2021 felony theft by taking arrest. Got history out of Alabama. 2020 public intoxication. Public order crime, resisting an officer. 2018 possession of a controlled substance. Driving with an expired license. Failure to appear. 2018 probation violation. 2017 driving with an expired license. Violation of mandatory liability insurance. Failure to appear. 2017 he was arrested for the same thing again. 2017 possession of marijuana, and 2014 trespass, marijuana possession.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Howard. Ms. Select?
Your Honor, on September 26, 2022, officers were dispatched to 2050 Cheshire Bridge Road in Atlanta, Georgia. That's Morningside Apartments. Officers were dispatched out by the leasing office, and they told officers from Atlanta Police Department that the defendant was inside of an apartment that was locked, and he had been previously told not to come back to the property and had been previously criminally trespassed at that location. The state is recommending a $2,000 straight bond, a surety bond, and a stay away from the incident location of 2050 Cheshire Bridge Road, Morningside Apartments. no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. The defendant, as pretrial stated, is currently on felony probation for theft by taking and theft by receiving. So the state would argue that he poses a significant risk of committing additional crimes while out on bond. Thus, that is the reason for the state's recommendation. Nothing further from the state at this time.
Thank you. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Gerald Mazzaria is 31 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 3 years. He does not have any family here, and he does not have anyone to assist with bond. He is the proud father of a 2-year-old. Your Honor, Mr. Mazzaria completed high school. He also has some college. He studied business management. He states that he is self-employed, Your Honor. He denies the allegations. I do acknowledge my client's history. I am requesting a signature bond given the nature of the allegations. He is presumed innocent, Your Honor. He denies the allegations. And regarding the stay away, Your Honor, we are unopposed. However, my client states that he does have some belongings there. He would like a one-time law enforcement escort to retrieve any belongings. And if Your Honor determines that he's ineligible for a signature bond, I would ask for a bond reduction no more than $1,000. Thank you.
Ms. Gant, does he have someplace else to live?
Yes, Your Honor. He tells me that he lives in a shelter near the Coca-Cola plant, but he wasn't able to give me an address.
Okay. It's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Cheshire Bridge Road address, the Morningside Apartments. You can go back there on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
Position 8, Nixon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Nixon and Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 22 CR 006561F with simple battery family violence and battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Third arrest. Last arrest was in June, Cobb County. Battery conviction. Criminal damage to property, 2nd degree. It was amended to trespass, which is a conviction. He's on probation for that. 2021, ag assault. It was dismissed. Robbery, conviction. On probation for that as well. They gave him 5 years probation for that back in August. That's it.
Select.
Yes, Your Honor. On September 26, 2022, Officer Edie with the Atlanta Police Department was dispatched to 112 Cortlandt Street, Atlanta, Georgia, and that's the 112 apartments. Upon arrival, Officer Edie spoke with representatives from the lease office who stated that they had video footage of the defendant assaulting the victim in this case. The victim's name is Mata Kang, MATAKANG. Manal Talbot, MANYLTALBOT. Officer Edie viewed the surveillance footage and he could see that the defendant punched the victim in the stomach and the victim fell to the floor and was lying in the fetal position. After being punched, she was lying on the floor. Employees in the leasing office also stated that they had been receiving phone calls from residents about screaming and crying coming from the particular apartment in that apartment complex. They had been receiving those calls up until the time the officers arrived on the scene. Officer Edie went to the apartment that the leasing office had been receiving calls about, and the defendant answered the door at that time. Officers were also able to make contact with the victim in the case, and the officer could see that she had visible marks on her lips, old scars around her neck, fresh bruises on her chest, and a small amount of blood on her back. As you could hear from pretrial, the defendant is on probation for battery out of Cobb County from a case that happened a couple of months ago. The victim in that case is the same victim in this case. He also has a robbery conviction from 2021. Due to him currently being on probation for a case with the same victim, the state is going to be asking for a $2,500 cash bond on each charge. No contact with the victim in this case. Stay away from the incident location, and no alcohol, drug, or weapons while out on bond.
Okay, Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Jarrell Nixon is 20 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 4 years. He does have family here, Your Honor. Mr. Nixon completed high school. He has some college. He studied business. He is currently employed as a car mechanic detailer. He has been in that position for the last 5 months. Mr. Nixon denies the allegations, Your Honor. These are just, at this point, these are allegations. He wants contact with Ms. Manitabat. However, Your Honor, I have not made any contact with her, and we will defer to the court's ruling. And we are requesting a one-time law enforcement escort at the incident location. And Mr. Nixon informs me that that is a friend's address and that Ms. Manitabat does not live there, but my client states that he has belongings at that incident location address, Your Honor. If Your Honor determines he's ineligible for a signature bond, I would ask for a bond of no more than $4,000, and that would be $2,000 for each count, for a total of $4,000 surety. Thank you.
Okay, for the simple battery, it's gonna be a $2,000 good bond. For the battery, it's gonna be a $3,000 good bond, making for it as a total of a $5,000 good bond. Stay away from the Portland Street address. You can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No further contact with the alleged victim, Ms. Manitabat, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Let me make it quite clear what no contact means, Mr. Nixon. No contact means no physical contact, no phone contact, no email contact, no social media contact, no contact whatsoever. If you have any type of contact with her, you will be in violation of this bond order, and you'll be right back where you are at the present time. You understand me?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Nixon. Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
It was a 5,000 goodbye, correct, Judge?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, position 3, Mr. Delahunt.
Good afternoon, Mr. Delahunt. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 22 CR 0065564 with harassing communication. It's my understanding that this is Mr. Delahunt's first offense. Ms. Sadlett?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct. On February 22nd, 2021, officers from the Milton Police Department were dispatched to 334 Regatta Grove in Milton, Georgia, in reference to harassing communications. The victim, Marian, Marian Delahunt, Delahunt, stated at the time that the defendant was her soon-to-be ex-husband and had called her 43 times and texted her 74 times in a span of 8 hours that evening. Some of the texts were, "Keep ignoring me and see where that gets you and your daughter. You have no idea of the destruction that will ensue because of your stubbornness." The state is recommending a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial services, no contact with the victim, Marian Delahunt, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond, Your Honor.
You have any objection to that, Ms. Gant?
No objections, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Delahunt, again, let me make it quite clear to you what no contact means. No contact means no phone contact, no personal contact, no email contact, no social media contact, no contact whatsoever. If you're in violation, this $4,000 signature bond is going to be revoked and you're going to be right back where you are, okay? All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, Judge, I didn't catch that. I had stepped away.
Okay, that's a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial.
For position 17, Mr. Williams. He's taking a plea.
Yes.
We have his plea paperwork.
Do we have the paperwork, Ms. Bridgewater?
No, will you ask Michael, since you're on Zoom, I can't get into my email. If he,
Judge, I have the plea paperwork with Ms. Holly up here.
Okay,
can
so,
someone bring it so the judge can go ahead and sign it, please, before he leaves? Can Michael, you give it to Michael?
Okay, I asked him. I don't have a transfer order. You stated you needed a transfer order also?
Yes, someone in the solicitor's office mentioned that they were gonna transfer the case. If you're listening on the Zoom, if you would send it to Miss April Champion so that she can have it. Huh?
I think I just forwarded it, so she should
Okay.
receive it soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. So we can go ahead with that, please.
okay, let's see, Mr. Williams, can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, which solicitor?
It will be me, Your Honor. Do you want a recitation of the facts?
If you could just tell me what the recommendation is for each of the counts, please.
For count 1, fair evasion, the offer is time served 2 days. And for the second count, obstruction, it's the same, time served 2 days to be served consecutively.
Okay, so that's
Concurrently, my apologies, Your Honor.
12 months to serve 2 days, credit for time served 2 days, balance suspended. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that your understanding of the plea negotiation, Mr. Williams?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you do understand that you have a right to have counsel present and you've waived that right, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol this afternoon?
No, sir.
And just for the record, Mr. Williams, you've been charged in case 22 CR 006568G with fair evasion and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. And it's my understanding that you wish to plead guilty to both those charges. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
You understand that you have a right to a trial by jury on these charges, and that by pleading guilty to them, you're giving up your right to a trial by jury.
Yes, sir. I understand.
Has anyone forced or coerced you to plead guilty?
No, sir.
You do understand that if you are on probation, that your probation can be affected by a guilty plea to those charges. You understand that?
Yes, sir. I'm not on probation.
Okay, and you understand that if you're not a US citizen, that your citizenship status could be affected by a plea of guilty. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. I was born in the US.
Is your plea to these charges free and voluntary?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will accept the plea, Mr. Williams. 12 months to serve 2 days, credit for time served 2 days, balance suspended. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We're completed here in courtroom 2, Judge.
Okay, before I let you go.
Number 4.
He's been communicating, but I've been.
Brandon Denton, number 4.
Yes, Your Honor, I submitted a waiver.
Yeah, he waived.
I have the waiver.
Okay, that's gonna be a waiver. And position number 9, and what about position 11, Michael Ryder?
That medical, I think. He was reset.
Medical reset. I was told that it was a medical reset, Your Honor.
Okay, medical reset.
And he passed out at the felony court. And
Okay.
now that he's at the Grady.
Okay, is that reset for tomorrow?
I do not know, Your Honor. I guess when he returns from Grady Hospital.
Well, we'll just put him down for tomorrow. If he's. All right, thank you. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Judge Morrow.
All right, see you next time. So let's go to the South Annex. Is this position 9, Ms. Pierce?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, good afternoon, Ms. Pierce. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
You've been charged in case 22 CR 0065628 with terroristic threats. It's my understanding that this is Ms. Pierce's first arrest. Ms. King?
That is correct, Your Honor. This offense occurred on September 26th. Officers were dispatched to a dispute at 1631 Stanton Road, Stanton Road Southwest in Atlanta. Upon arrival, they spoke with the defendant and the victim in this case, Leslie Graham, Leslie, last name traditional spelling. While the officer was trying to figure out what was going on and settle the dispute, she, in front of the officer, yelled, "I swear to God, I'm going to beat your ass." At this point, the officer detained her. While the defendant does not have a criminal history, we still take this threat seriously, which is why we're asking for a 1,000 surety bond in this case. No further contact with Leslie Graham, stay away from the incident location, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Okay. Has anyone spoken to Mr. Graham or Ms. Graham?
Not yet, Your Honor.
And Ms. Gant, do you have any objection to the stay away and the no further contact?
No, Your Honor, but we will request a one-time law enforcement so that she can retrieve her belongings from this location.
Okay, so it's going to be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from Leslie Graham. No further contact with Leslie Graham. Stay away from the Stanton Road address. You can go back there on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you, Ms. Gant?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
Your client has her hand up. Ms. Pierce, I've given you a signature bond on this matter.
I just want to ask you something about staying away.
Please remain silent. I will give you a call, ma'am, to answer any questions. You will be able to sign yourself out.
All right. All right. Good luck to you, ma'am.
I do apologize, Your Honor.
Oh, you're fine, Ms. Gant. Thank you. Let's see. Let's go back to the waiver case, which is position number 4. Is there a history on Mr. Denton?
57. Last arrest was in January for trespass, theft of lost, mislaid property. Those were dismissed. He had a misdemeanor obstruction conviction, 2020. Trespass conviction, 2019. Another 2019 arrest for trespass. 2019, you got DC time served for trespass. 2019 probation, trespass. 2019 FTA.
Okay, Mr. Howard, you're good. Is he residentially challenged, Ms. Gant?
Yes, Your Honor. However, he does have a mailing address. I'm happy to place that in the chat.
Okay, all right, Ms. Salette.
Yes, Your Honor. On September 26, 2022, Officer Harshaw with the Atlanta Police Department was patrolling the area of 343 Joseph E. Lowry Boulevard, Atlanta, Georgia, near a BP gas station. The defendant was outside of that BP gas station, and Officer Harshaw immediately identified the defendant from previous criminal trespass warnings she had given him from that same location. While officer was attempting to detain the defendant, he jerked his arm and attempted to flee. Officer Harshaw was able to prevent the defendant from running, and he was arrested for criminal trespass and obstruction. The state's recommendation is a $500 surety bond on each charge and a stay away from the incident location at 343 Joseph E. Lowry address at that's a BP gas station. The defendant has at least 5 to 6 criminal trespass convictions from 2018 to now. And that's the state's recommendation at this time, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Gant, I'm going to want him to have a social worker visit. It sounds like one of his big issues is that he is does not have proper place to stay. So it's going to be a $500 signature bond through the jail on each count. A social worker visit to address a place for him to reside, or and to stay away from that BP gas station. on Joseph E. Larry Boulevard. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Are you going to speak to him this afternoon, Ms. Gant?
Yes, Your Honor. And regarding the address, may I send to, I do not see Ms. Bridgewater in the chat. May I just send an email to her with the address?
Yes, or you could send it in the chat, Ms. Champion will get it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I just want you to express to him, Ms. Gant, that he's not to go back to that BP. You know, he can, if he goes back to that BP, he's just going to be picked up again. And next time he's not going to get a signature bond. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor. We had
Okay.
that discussion.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see, I think that completes the 2 o'clock calendar. So once Ms. Bridgewater is ready, unless there's anything else, we'll go over the calendar.
Okay, good afternoon. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is going to be October the 11th. Position number 1 is going to the SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond. Position 2, the SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. Position 3, reset further notice with a $4,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 4, reset further notice with a $1,000 total SOB through the jail. Position 5, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 6 is going to the SAP calendar with a $5,000 total good bond. Position 7, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. Position 8 is going to the SAP calendar with a $5,000 total good bond. Position 9, reset further notice, $1,000 SOB through the jail. Position 10 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,500 total good bond. Position 11 is being reset till tomorrow. Position 12 is reset further notice with a $10,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 13 reset further notice with a $3,000 total SOB through pretrial. Position 14 reset further notice with a $5,000 total SOB through pretrial. Position 15 is being reset till tomorrow. Position 16 is going to the SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond, and position 17 to complete. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
Okay, you all have a good rest of your day and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Take care, Your Honor.
Thank you.